183, 48.7, 124, 14.5, 37, 3.7, 9.4, 0.0, 0.0, 0.0, 0.0, 1.8, 4.6, 17.2, 44, 59.3, 151, 90.6, 230, 463.1, 1178, average extreme no depth inches, centimeter, 92.0, 234, 106.4, 270, 121.1, 308, 113.4, 288, 89.3, 227, 42.5, 108, 4.3, 11, 0.0, 0.0, 1.4, 3.6, 10.7, 27, 32.0, 81, 66.0, 168, 124.3, 316, average precipitation days, greater than or equal to 0.01 in 17.916.718.016.513.617.3.53.71.8.4146.2 average snowy days, greater than or equal to 0.1 in 16.214.815.413.25.50.00.000.94.712.116.1100.7 Memonthly Sunshine House 124.014.03030.03217.02170.023.00217.090.092.095.3% possible sunshine 444558626773807975643033559 average ultraviolet index 224689986421 source 1 NOAA 10 11 source 2 Weather Atlas 12 sunshine data UV index fauna mammals that are residents of this national park are Canadian lynxes, bobcats, beavers, chipmunks, pronghorns, foxes, squirrels, porcupines, black bears, coyotes, pika, badgers, deer, elk, muskrats, and martins. Birds that commonly fly through this park including raptors are American dippers, peregrine falcons, ravens, Clark's nutcrackers, Canada jays, bald eagles, hummingbirds and spotted owls, while Canada geese float on its Lake Park features. Comfort Station Number 4 The Pinnacles. Some notable park features created by this huge eruption are the Pumice Desert, a very thick layer of pumice and ash leading away from Mazamar in a northerly direction. Even after thousands of years, Thysaria is largely devoid of plants due to excessive porosity, meaning water drains through quickly, and poor soil composed primarily of regolith. The Pinnacles. When the very hot ash and pumice came to rest near the volcano, it formed 200 to 300 foot thick, 60 to 90 m, gas-charged deposits. For perhaps years afterward, hot gas moved to the surface and slowly cemented ash and pumice together in channels and escaped through fumaroles. Erosion later removed most of the surrounding loose ash and pumice, leaving tall pinnacles and spires. Other park features. Mount Scott is a steep andesitic cone whose lava came from magma from Mazamar's magma chamber. Geologists call such volcano a parasitic or satellite cone. Volcanic eruptions apparently ceased on Scott sometime before the end of the Pleistocene. One remaining large cirque on Scott's northwest side was left unmodified by post-Ice Age volcanism. In the southwest corner of the park stands Union Peak, an extinct volcano whose primary remains consist of a large volcanic plug, which is lava that solidified in the volcano's neck. Crater Peak is a shield volcano primarily made of andesite and basalt lava flows topped by andesitic and dacite tephra. Timber Crater is a shield volcano located in the northeast corner of the park. Like Crater Peak, it is made of basaltic and andesitic lava flows but, unlike Crater, it is topped by two cinder cones. Rim Drive is the most popular road in the park. It follows a scenic route around the caldera rim. Layer Rock on the north side rises 1,800 feet, 550 m, above the lake, with a 1.3-mile, 2.1 kilometers, trail from Rim Drive leading to the summit. 13. The Pacific Crest Trail, a 2,650-mile, 4,260 kilometers, long-distance hiking and equestrian trail that stretches from the Mexican to Canadian borders, passes through the park. Old-growth forests covering 50,000 acres, 78.1 square mi, 202.3 square kilometers. 14. 180-degree panoramic photograph of Crater Lake from the top of nearby Mount Scott, looking west. Two snow-covered peaks can be seen in the distance. To the right of the lake is Mount Thilson, and in the far left of the photo is Mount McLaughlin. History. Aerial view of Crater Lake. Local Native Americans witnessed the collapse of Mount Mazamar and kept the event alive in their legends. One ancient legend of the Klamath people closely parallels the geologic story which emerges from today's scientific research. The legend tells of two chiefs, Leo of the below world and Skell of the above world, pitted in a battle which ended up in the destruction of Leo's home, Mount Mazamar. 15. The battle was witnessed in the eruption of Mount Mazamar and the creation of Crater Lake. A trio of gold prospectors John Wesley Hillman, Henry Klippel, and Isaac Skeetus were the first white people to visit the lake. On the 12th of June, 1853, they stumbled upon the long, sloping mountain while hunting for provisions. Stunned by the vibrant blue color of the lake, they named the indigo body of water Deep Blue Lake, and the place on the southwest side of the rim where he first saw the lake later became known as Discovery Point. 3. But gold was more on the minds of settlers at the time and the discovery was soon forgotten. The suggested name later fell out of favor by locals, who preferred the name Crater Lake. William Gladstone Steele devoted his life and fortune to the establishment and management of a national park at Crater Lake. His preoccupation with the lake began in 1870. In his efforts to bring recognition to the park, he participated in lake surveys that provided scientific support. He named many of the lake's landmarks, including Wizard Island, Layer Rock, and Skell Head. With the help of geologist Clarence Dutton, Steele organized a USGS expedition to study the lake in 1886. The party carried the Cleetwood, a half-ton survey boat, up the steep slopes of the mountain, then lowered it to the lake. From the stern of the Cleetwood, a piece of pipe on the end of a spool of piano wire sounded the depth of the lake at 168 different points. The deepest sounding, 1,996 feet, 608 m, was very close to the modern official depth of 1,949 feet, 594 m, made in 2000 by Sonar. 4. At the same time, a topographer surveyed the area and created the first professional map of the Crater Lake area. Crater Lake Lodge, partly based on data from the expedition and lobbying from Steele and others. Crater Lake National Park was established the 22nd of May, 1902, by President Theodore Roosevelt. And because of Steele's involvement, Crater Lake Lodge was opened in 1915 and the Rim Drive was completed in 1918. 3. Highways were later built to the park to help facilitate tourism. The 1929 edition of Oranger described access and facilities available by then Crater Lake National Park is reached by train on the Southern Pacific Railroad lines into Mead Ford and Klamath Falls, at which stops motor stages make the short trip to the park. A hotel on the rim of the lake offers accommodations. For the motorist, the visit to the park is a short side trip from highways. He will find, in addition to the hotel, campsites, stores, filling stations late June or July the 1st for as long as snow does not block the roads, generally until OC the lake is described in the poetry of Joaquin Miller. 17. Activities. Daily trips, 1931. There are many hiking trails and several campgrounds inside the park. Unlicensed fishing is allowed without any limitation of size, species, or number. The lake is believed to have no indigenous fish, but several species of fish were introduced beginning in 1888 until all fish taking ended in 1941. Cockaigne salmon, Oncoinchus nurka, and rainbow trout, Oncoinchus micis, now thrive and reproduce here naturally. 18. Swimming is allowed in the lake, and the boat tours, which stop at Wizard Island, a cinder cone inside the lake, operate daily during the summer. All lake access for people is from Cleetwood Trail, a steep walking rail, and there are no roads for cars, trucks, or wagons that lead to the waterfront. All of the boats in the lake were delivered by helicopter. 19. Numerous observation points along the caldera rim for the lake are readily accessible by automobile via the Rim Drive, which is 33 miles, 53 kilometers, long and has an elevation gain of 3,800 feet, 1,200 m. The highest point in Crater Lake National Park is Mount Scott at 8,929 feet, 2,722 m. Getting there requires a fairly steep 2.5 mile, 4.0 kilometers, hike from the Rim Drive trailhead. On a clear day, visibility from the summit exceeds 100 miles, 160 kilometers, and one can, in a single view, take in the entire caldera. Also visible from this point are the white-peaked Cascade Range volcano to the north, the Columbia River Plateau to the east, and the Western Cascades and the more distant Klamath Mountains to the west. The scenery of Crater Lake is fully accessible during the summer months. Heavy snowfalls in this park during the fall, winter and spring months force many road and trail closures, including the popular Rim Drive, which is generally completely open from July to October and partially open in some other months, such as May, June, and November. Trails. View up to Watchman Trail and Peak Garfield Peak Trail, view east towards Crater Lake Cleetwood Cove. The Cleetwood Cove Trail originates on the north side of the lake about 4.5 mi, 7.2 kilometers, east of North Junction along East Rim Drive. The trail is the only one that accesses the shoreline of the lake, descending 656 feet, 200 m, from the Cleetwood Cove parking lot. First opened during the summer of 1960, the trail is 1.1 mi, 1.8 kilometer, long with an 11% grade that rates it as a strenuous route on the return trip. Due to its steep grade, the trail is not accessible for mobility-impaired visitors. A dock with concessionaire boats facilitates tours around the lake with a stop at Wizard Island for dropping off and picking up passengers. Swimming and fishing are permitted. Snow may cover the trail from October to July with some variance depending on yearly snowfall conditions. 20. The Watchman. The Watchman Peak Trail begins from the Watchman Overlook parking lot, about 3.8 mi, 6.1 kilometers, northwest of Rim Village. 21. The trail is 0.8 mi, 1.3 kilometer, long with a 420-foot, 130 m, elevation change. 22. It is a steady uphill trail on an isolated mountain on the west rim of the crater, with several switchbacks, providing wide views of crater. Lakeland Wizard Island. Several nearby landmarks are visible from the summit, including Mount McLaughlin, Mount Thilson, Union Peak, Mount Scott and the Klamath Basin. The trail ends next to a historic fire lookout tower built in 1932. 21. Lightning Spring. The Lightning Spring Trail starts from the Lightning Spring picnic area. It is a 3-4 mile, 1.2 kilometer, hike with an elevation gain of 250 feet, 76 m. The trail circles around several meadows up to the Lightning Spring Creek. The trail is known for the frequent sight of grazing deer. Castle Crest Wildflower Garden. This is considered to be the easiest trail, looping around the Castle Crest Wildflower Garden. It starts from the East Rim Road near the park's headquarters. It received its name because of a large stretch of meadows around which the trail circles and which is bursting with wildflowers in the springtime. The trail is about 1-2 mile, 800 m, before it reaches the Wildflower Meadow Garden, from which other improvised routes depart. Plaquenil Falls. The Plaquenil Falls Trail is the newest trail in the Crater Lake Park. It stretches 1.1 miles, 1.8 kilometer, from the trailhead located 1.2 miles, 1.9 kilometer, south from the Phantom Ship overlook on Pinnacles Road, which spins off Rim Drive. The trail leads to Plaquenil Falls. Most of the trail is wheelchair accessible. The final stretch is fairly uphill, which may prove moderately challenging. Garfield Peak. Phantom Ship. The Garfield Peak Trail is a moderately challenging 1.7 mile, 2.7 kilometers, hike to Garfield Peak. The trailhead is located east of the Crater Lake Lodge and gains approximately 1,000 feet, 300 m, of elevation. Several spots along the trail provide viewpoints overlooking the Phantom Ship Island and Dutton Cliff. A few viewpoints offer unique views of Wizard Island. The trail is popular in the late afternoon on account of unique shifting colors over the lake and its surroundings. See also. Icon. Environment Portal Flag. Oregon Portal List of National Parks of the United States. High Cascades Complex Fires. National Park Service Rustic about the architecture of the park structures. National Register of Historic Places listings in Crater Lake National Park. Protected Areas of the United States. Volcanic Legacy Scenic Byway. References.
Good. Let's just continue. Let's continue with Southern Oregon.